Hey guys, what's going on, man? I'm on my way to the gym and I had this thought. I wanted to share with you guys something that I really identified that has been a struggle and that I've seen people and teams really just have a little bit of a problem with, right? And so today I want to talk to you about the struggles that your team may have and why they continue to struggle as they move into this first quarter. Welcome to Leadership Legacy Radio, where we inspire you to live your dreams, encourage you to take massive action, and be your authentic and genuine self. We focus on three pillars. That's empowering youth, equipping leaders, and enriching marriages so that you can go out and dominate your space.
If you're ready to dominate, you're listening to the right show. This is the Leadership Legacy Radio. Now let's go.
You know what time it is. It's time to elevate your leadership intent. So today what I want to do is I want to focus on customer service and the dynamics of your team. Now, is your team struggling? Why is your team struggling? That's the question, right? And so today what I wanted to do is share with you why your team might be struggling and what you can do to transform the small things that you have on your team to really maximize your team's potential. So the first thing that I want to share with you is like the diversity of your team. Most teams, most people, bring people on that are very similar in nature, very similar in characteristics, and really what you do is you create group thinking. You create like a similar way of thinking, and if you do that, you limit the gaps that you have, and you actually create bigger gaps in your business. But what you want to do is you want to actually hire people that have different perspectives than you, different opinions than you, and think differently. And here is why. We all have blind spots. We all have these innate ways that we look at things, and what's going to happen to you is you're going to be limited in your team's potential. Now, I remember when I was working, I was doing some training, and I had ran into a leader of this organization, and as I was working with this organization, he said, "Can I show you something?" I said, "Absolutely. Whatever you want to share, I would be willing to see, look, and kind of get a better understanding, because I always love learning from people." So he walks me over to this leadership board, and he points at it, and he says, "What do you see here?" And so I look up, and I was like, "The company leaders." And then he said, "No, look closely." And I looked again, and as I'm looking, I was like, it's the leaders. And he's like, "Oh, I see a few pictures missing." And he said, "What I'm trying to point to your attention is that the entire leadership of this organization looks the exact same. And the problem is we've been struggling with the same problems for the last 3 years. And we continue to struggle with the same problems because we don't value the opinions and the thinking of other people. I think it's time for a change. I think it's time for a shift." And really what he was saying is it's better when we have a diverse culture in our organization, when we have a diverse team. So why is diversity on your team critical and important? Diversity on your team is important because it actually helps fill knowledge gaps, right? There's different things that are happening right now that your company may be struggling with. And for example, if you are not, I've talked about this before, if you are not capturing AI and infusing it into your business, your company is going to fall behind. But if you have a business that has multiple generations working in it, you may run into this problem because the leaders of the organization may be 2 to 3 generations removed from this social media infused generation. And so I want to drive this point home because this is very critical, right? So not only are you going to miss the knowledge gap, but you're going to miss the perspective gap and the experience gap. I'm going to prove my point here. I want to introduce you to Tony. Tony worked for Sherwin-Williams, and Tony had a social media following that started exploding because what Tony did is he started buying paint, and he started mixing paints to show people all of the variety of colors that you could buy from Sherwin-Williams. And what ended up happening is Tony started blowing up. Tony ended up having 1.5 million followers and over 26 million likes. That's a lot of views. That's a lot of people following somebody. And Tony started pitching this to Sherwin-Williams and said, "Hey, we have something that we can do to maximize the way that our company shows up in today's social media presence, and we can gain a new following and a new customer that we may not be tapping into. He kept pitching. He had slide decks. He had all kinds of information that he was sharing with them. And he really was saying, hey, I'm going to give you my 1.5 million followers. Sherwin-Williams did not listen. They actually fired him. And they fired him because of a lack of diversity, a lack of understanding, a lack of awareness. You have to be able to change with the times. Now, some of the challenges that you're going to face when you have always done things a certain way is that you're gonna have this fear of conflict. Like you don't want to do things that are different because the company's always done it this way. Listen, when you start changing things, one or two things are going to happen. You're going to have amazing success, or you're going to find out things that don't work. Either way, you win because you're finding out ways to improve. You're going to find out things that don't work and things that do work. But one of the challenges that happen here is that if you have an organization that has been around for ages, 150 years, or things like that, sometimes what I've learned as I've been, just diving into the team building and the customer service area is that some companies are generational, right? And so they may have multiple generations working, and this is the first time in our history that we have 5 generations working at the same time in some of these companies. And so the unwillingness to support new and creative ideas is going to be a limiting factor. Sometimes because you've been around, arrogance is going to be a limiting factor. Your personal insecurity, you need to let that go. That's going to be a challenge for you. And the most important thing is not being inclusive in your approach. Listen, we don't have to do everything, but we should try certain things in a controlled environment. For example, this young man brings an idea. He's saying, hey, I have 1.5 million followers, and I really think that we can create a way to promote our brand on, and what he was doing is promoting his brand on TikTok, and TikTok was blowing up at the time. Think about gaining 1.5 million new customers to your business. Your business changes overnight like that. The problem is we are comfortable, and our brains are designed to make us comfortable. So you have to get out of that comfort zone. How can you make your team thrive to finish this quarter out on the highest potential? 1, look for diversity in your team. 2, promote a culture of sharing and creativity where you value people, you value their ideas, you value the way that they show up. Our differences are actually great. I recently did a training on diversity with an organization, and what was funny is we put people in a room, and we had people from all over the world. I mean, this organization had a very diverse, team, and what was interesting is among, I think it was like 45 people that were there, what ended up happening is there were more similarities than differences. There were more similarities than differences in those people. Now, you shrink that group down and you take, 1 or 2 people, and what we did is we did this exercise, and we showed them how you put all of your similarities in the middle and then all of our differences on the outside, and there was very limited differences that we had. You know what the differences were limited to? The differences were limited to my skin complexion, right? Whether I was a male or a female. And then from there on out, there was very little that changed. We all wanted to be successful. We all wanted to make the company grow. We all wanted to help our teammates, get to that next level where they wanted to go. We all wanted to have fun at work. We all wanted to feel included. We all wanted to feel valued. That is what your team needs. That is what your team is looking for right now, in this moment, in this season. Can you give them that? Can you give them a place where they come in and they feel like their leaders have their back, right? When you do that, you're going to get creative perspective. You're going to get a new found appreciation for the business, and you're going to have people coming in with different perspectives, different values, different kind of ideas. They're going to bridge so many gaps for you and bring so much experience to your business that it's going to blow up in this first quarter. However, if you limit it, As John Maxwell says, you're putting a lid on your leadership, and this is what happens. Your best people are going to want to leave because they can't grow. They can't get to that next level. And you don't want that for your organization. You want to take it to the next level? Start building a culture of inclusion. Share your perspectives. Get to ask questions from your team and continue to grow, because diversity is powerful. It helps you see things in a new light. I hope this serves you. I hope you go out and crush it. I'm going to the gym. I hope you get a good workout. Have a fantastic weekend. But as always, go out and dominate your space. Boom. Let's go.